What's up, world? My name is Zavian Dre, and this is my podcast, Dopenly Honest, breaking the chains of addiction. What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of Dopenly Honest. Now, today, we are joined by a good friend of mine, Harley Gaines. With multiple years in sobriety, she will be letting us know the difficulties that early recovery brings her way and what she does on a day-to-day basis to stay clean. Getting sober is not an impossible task, and today's guest is a perfect example of how one can go from the depths of hell to the bright light of recovery. So let's not waste no time. Let's get straight to it. So Harley, first off, I want to thank you for your time today. We've known each other for a while through the rooms of Narcotics Anonymous. You know, we get busy with our personal life. So it means a lot that you would come today and try to share a message of hope and a message of strength for other people that need it. If you don't mind, if you would start out, just tell the people who you are, kind of where you come from, your sobriety date, and then we'll go from there.
My name's Harley, and I'm a grateful recovering addict. My clean date is September 24th, 2024. I come from a long line of people in addiction. I'm from Shelby County. I grew up in Waddy.
Oh, Waddy.
Yeah.
Yeah, the country for real. So if you don't mind, we can kind of start here. What does recovery mean to you?
Recovery means, to me, pretty much no use of any mind-altering substances, including alcohol.
I can definitely agree with that. I know for me, I know that me personally, I can't do anything. I don't know if you can relate to that. I can't smoke weed. I can't drink. I can't do any of that. Now, let me say this as well. It took me years learning that. At first, I battled with myself. I told myself, I can smoke weed, it's not a problem. If I can just put the needle down and the heroin down and the hard stuff, I can do weed. I can drink beer with my dad, my granddad, we're going fishing, we having a barbecue family cookout. And what I learned throughout the years, that when I tried to do it that way, that it wouldn't, it would always lead back to what I really wanted to do, which was, high is not even the word. I would get obliterated, like try to, at the end of my use, I was trying to, might as well say I was suicidal, and with the stuff they got out there today, with the fentanyl and things of that nature, so can you tell me, like, in your personal journey, can you tell me what was a turning point, so to speak? So when we get out there and we're getting high and we're doing our thing and we're causing chaos around us for ourselves and people around us, what was the turning point for you where you was like, you know what, I gotta change. I gotta do something about this because it's getting out of hand.
I had 2 turning points, and the first one didn't really, I guess, stick. The first turning point was when I got pregnant with my daughter. I didn't realize how bad my disease was, how bad my addiction had gotten, until I had found out I was 3 months pregnant. Like, it took 3 months for me to find out I was pregnant because I was getting so high. And I was pretty much like, okay, I got to stop what I'm doing or I'm going to kill my kid if my kid isn't already dead, Like, if something isn't, like, already really bad. And I remember, goodness, this is how my disease told me. It was like, you can wing yourself down. You can just do a little bit and it'll be fine. And I was able to kind of wing myself down and only use very, very little until I was able to stop. But at that point, like, even though my kid was fine, she was healthy, she was underweight, but she was, she was alive and I was able to keep her, I was miserable. I was miserable with being in my body. I was not comfortable at all. I was uncomfortable with being bored. I didn't have interest in nothing but getting high. That's exactly what I wanted to do. And sooner or later, it wasn't even 30 days and after I had my daughter, and I was already back to doing fentanyl. And the second turning point was a couple months before I had finally decided to ask for help. My daughter had fell off a bed in a basement on a concrete floor and hit her head. And at this point, she's not even 9 months old. And her eyes was rolling in the back of her head. She was like, I couldn't move her. Like she was like I could move her, but she couldn't move. Like she was shaking and she was just stuck. And I tried to like sit her up. She was falling. I could tell that something was wrong. And I've never seen a seizure before, but that's what I was kind of thinking that it might have been. But all of this over my kid falling and hitting her head on concrete. And I was so high that I could not take my kid to the hospital because it was like, if I take her to the hospital, they're going to take me to jail, put my kid in foster care, or my kid is going, something bad is going to happen. I couldn't bring myself to do it. And I was scared to ask somebody else for help because either they're going to take my kid, they're going to call CPS, or they're going to get up there. Something's seriously going to be wrong with my child. And what are they going to say? I ended up putting her in the tub. I just kind of tried to wipe her down, just pour some water over her back, all over her body, and just try to get things to, I guess, get better. And it did. But I was paranoid out of my mind for the next month. Like any little thing that I spotted with my child, if she looked like tired, like I would freak out. Or if she shook a little bit or she fell down, like she can't even walk, but she's falling, like I would freak plumb out. Like I really thought that something was wrong. And at that point, I was like, I can't even get help for my child. If I don't get clean, something bad is going to happen to my child. And that was it. That was the turning point.
Okay, so before I go any further, I just want to commend you on talking about that because I feel like, to a certain degree, I feel like some people don't open up and talk about personal things like that, which is okay. But I feel like it's very therapeutic, man, especially when somebody's clean now and they can sit back and they can talk about that shit, because they're no longer getting high. So I want to commend you for talking about that because I could tell it wasn't easy. I also want to commend you on actually taking that step and getting clean for yourself and for your child. Now I want to go back a little bit. As far as with the drug use and things of that nature, did you start at like, I know for me, I started out with marijuana, just recreational use. Is that how it started out for you? Like, did it start out like weed and, alcohol, high school party? Like, how did it start out for you?
I was very, very, very young. I probably had just hit 11 maybe. And my dad was like, if you're going to drink or get high, you do it with me at home. And I'm an addict. And I knew when I first started drinking and smoking that I liked that. What that did for me, I liked that. Yeah, it did start out with alcohol and it started out with weed. And it got so bad that I was 15 throwing up blood because I was drinking so much. At that time, though, I was just having fun. Like, I was just, I was with my brother and we would go to these little parties and we would take mushrooms and acid and just little hippie shit, I guess. And we would just get fucked up and we had a good time doing it. And at some point, he went on his own journey and I fell towards my own.
And that's what I want to say to any young people out here because I know when we young, we like to experiment. Today is totally different than 10 years ago when we was coming up. The drug game is way different. There's way more dangerous shit out here. So to my young crowd, to my youth out there, and to anybody that hasn't tried drugs for the first time, but you are thinking about trying it, like,
don't do it.
Don't do it, man, because, that's how it starts out. We think we having fun. We think we at a party, we think we just trying to fit in, be cool. And it's like what you said, it's fun at first. You know, it's fun until it's not. It's fun until you get addicted. It's fun until you waking up and you shaking and you're throwing up, having uncontrollable diarrhea, restless legs. You ain't slept in 4 or 5 days. It's fun until all that shit. It's fun until you start going to jail, start going to having to go to rehab. It's fun until all that shit starts to hit home. And then you're stuck like, where in the fuck did the last 5 years go? And how did I get here? And what do I need to do now to get my shit back in order? And then, desire is not enough because then at this point now, you truly don't want to keep going, but now you've become physically dependent. Something that started out as fun has now become something that you're physically dependent on. And that's what I'm saying when I say to not try, experimentation with fentanyl is insanity. You experiment with, weed, something like, but man, if you out here and you listening to these rappers and they talking about popping these perks, and let me tell you something, bro, there ain't no real perks out here no more. All the perk, not unless you know somebody that's going straight to the doctor and you can see them actually, the pharmacist putting them in the bottle. Unless you actually see that, you don't know what you're getting, bro. Even the weed, they spraying weed with shit. The ice that's out here is cut with fentanyl. Heroin is not existing anymore. It's all fentanyl. So it's like the experimentation and shit like that has to stop, man. Like, this shit ain't no game out here, man. So, man, I was wanting to ask you, Harley, like, so now, we've talked about what you started out on and a little bit about how, you're coming up, your upbringing and shit like that. So now, if you don't mind, like, so for the addict that's listening out here, what helps you on a day-to-day basis? Like, what does a day in the life of Harley look like as far as sobriety and the things that you do to stay clean?
I keep myself really busy. I am a go, go, go person. I got 2 kids. Life pretty much revolves around them. And like everybody, they see me and they're like, you don't really have time for yourself. And they don't understand, like, the time that I get to myself is the time that I use to go to meetings and hang out with other recovering addicts. Like, that's what I need. So, like, down in the holler, like, went with some other addicts, and that was fun for me. Like, that's what I needed. That fills my cup. Like, when I go to the NA meetings, like, I will be having a terrible week, and that's what I need. That's what I need to get me right today.
Yeah, I can relate.
I do a lot with my kids, and I do a lot with other people's kids. People trust me with their kids today.
Ain't that mind-blowing?
Absolutely. I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful that I can keep somebody's kids overnight and it'd be fine. They don't have to call and check up, which is cool if you do. I'm that mom. I'm going to call and check up on my kid. But I'm just grateful. I'm grateful that they don't have to worry about me in a corner somewhere, all falling out with their kid,
Yeah.
So I'm extremely grateful for that.
Yeah, they say a grateful addict would never relapse. I've heard that plenty of times. I truly believe that because, like, now I'm great. I'm so grateful. I can't even put my gratitude into words. My gratitude list is so long today. So pretty much what I got from that is, as far as what you do to stay clean, you keep yourself busy. I'll do the same thing.
There's times where it gets overwhelming. Like, there's times where...
Like, you got too much on your plate, yeah.
Absolutely. But I got to sit down and I got to think, like, what would I be doing if I didn't have all this stuff to do? What would I be doing? What would I have on my mind right now if I wasn't doing all this stuff? On top of that, like, I feel like I get so caught up in being overwhelmed with all this stuff that I'm doing, but I asked for that. I asked for that because in the beginning, I was scared to be bored. Like, that was just the way it was. Like, anytime I had gotten clean before, like, I was not okay being bored. But today, though, I will say this, like, I've gotten used to being comfortable with where I'm at. Like, yeah, I'm busy all the time, but I can go home and I can lay in the bed and that's cool. Like, I'm cool with that. I can watch TV and I ain't worried about what the next motherfucker is doing. So I'm grateful for that too.
Just the little things that we was looking over for so long, because we was worried about getting the next one. Or I'll speak on me. I can't speak for you, but I know that's all I could think about. How am I gonna get the next one? And then when I get the next one, how am I gonna get the next one? And I'm gonna have to leave a little bit, over to so I can do in the morning so I'm not sick. And it's just a revolving door over and over and over. It's a vicious cycle. That's the message that I'm trying to get out there is that this cycle never, for as long as you in this cycle and don't try to change, it's gonna be the same shit. And it's the same, it's always the same repercussions, jails, institutions, and death. We ain't promised life, and especially I heard messing with that fentanyl. So you playing Russian roulette and you're suicidal. And you might think that you out there popping perk 30s, but really you doing fentanyl. You might think that you out there sipping lean, but really you doing liquid heroin. Let me get into that too. So, what was your drug of choice?
It started with opioids or pills, and then it got into fentanyl. Like I skipped heroin. I just went straight to
Yeah.
fentanyl. My insanity, this is where my insanity comes in. So I had fell out off fentanyl one time and I was in my car for 7 hours and I ended up getting palsy in my arm. I couldn't even use my arm for like 6, 7 months. After that had happened, I had went inside my house. I had to have somebody let me in my house because I couldn't open a damn door. And I flushed my dope down the toilet. And then the next day, after saying, oh, I'm not going to do no more, I went and got more, thinking that it was going to be different.
But this is the thing though. When you flush that dope, you actually meant it in your heart and in your soul. You was really done.
Yeah, it scared me.
Yeah. So then when you woke up the next morning, and the only reason why I'm speaking on it is because I've done the same thing. Literally, I flushed dope before, and I woke up the next morning sick. And it's like, damn, fuck, I just flushed this dope, and now, like, I don't want to go get more, but I have to function. I gotta be up. I gotta talk to people. And that's what I'm saying. It takes you that low to where you feel like you can't even talk without that shit.
Using to live and pretty much dying.
Yeah, man. And it's like, it never stops, especially with opioids. And I want to touch on the withdrawal part. For people who don't know, the most dangerous form of withdrawals comes by way of alcohol and benzos, which is, we all know what alcohol is, but benzos are your Xanaxes, Klonopins, things of that nature, anything that's in that family. And when you take those for so long, when you drink for so long, when you take Xanaxes, Klonopins, et cetera, for so long, and then you stop, your body and your chemical workup and your body pretty much shuts down because it's so used to having those things. So then when you don't have them, I remember when I was in college, I came off Xanax bars, the yellow school buses, and I was taking them for like a couple months, and I stopped, and then I didn't know what was going on. I couldn't get out of bed. My body was jerking. I was seizing up. You know what I mean? My jaw was locking up. Those are your most dangerous. If anybody's listening, if you're coming off those two, I would strongly suggest that you get medical help when detoxing. Now, if you can do it on your own, I mean, that teach his own. I'm not gonna try to tell anybody. Well, actually, I am. As far as with alcohol and Xanaxes, you need professional help. Now, with opioids, that's doable. Now, you're gonna feel like you're gonna die, but you can get through it. If you can get past 4 or 5 days, then you've gotten through the worst part. Now, what happens with most opiate addicts is we get past those 4 and 5 days, then the mental creeps in. That obsession kicks in. Oh, I can probably just do one more and then keep doing it like that. And then the cycle starts over and over and over again. So, yeah, man, I just wanted to hit on that. The withdrawals is what keeps us going as far as an opiate use. Do you agree?
The longest I was up for 7 days, and I was trying to come off fentanyl, and when I tell you, I was standing up and passing out on the floor. Yeah, I was standing up and passing out on the floor. Like, I'm pretty certain my organs was trying to fail on me. Like, I couldn't even take care of my kid. It was so bad. And, of course, again, like, I had to go get one more because I needed to function at that point. It had been 7 days. 7 days, and I can't take care of my kid. Like, I really thought I was going to die. It was bad. I definitely do agree. But it's bad. I don't think they realize how bad it is out here. It's not good.
Yeah, it's bad, man, and that's why I took this initiative, because as long as people continue to get clean but not try to reach out and help the next addict, I feel like that's the worst, for somebody to get clean and not try to help, because it was freely given to us. So I feel like us now, we got clean, we got to continue to reach out. But let me say this too. You got to be careful, because we can't fix other people, and everything I'm speaking on, I'm speaking from experience. A lot of times we get clean and we end up getting ourselves fucked over by trying to help another addict. Next thing that now we feel like we can't fix them. Now we feel like we can't control the situation. Then that makes us like, then we end up getting high trying to help somebody else. So it's important for us to realize that a person is not, only they know when they're ready.
And you know what was hard for me when it came to asking for help to get clean? Like, my biggest fear was my mom. My mom didn't know I was going through that struggle for almost 10 years. Almost 10 years. She had no idea. She knew I drank.
Wow.
She knew I smoked weed, but she didn't know about the rest. And I was so scared to ask for help because I was worried about her finding out and what she would think about me. I think everybody kind of had a suspicion, but they didn't have proof because I looked bad. I mean, I looked really bad.
Yeah.
But it was still like, it got worse because at that point, at the end, it was like, I got this kid and now my mom's going to find out. And what's she going to think about me then? Like, I'm a shitty fucking parent. And that's exactly pretty much what I was. When I tell you, I lied to my mama. I lied to my mama about getting help. My brother needed some help. And I was like, I know how to get him in a rehab. And I told her, I was like, I can get him into rehab. I'm just going to go with him. That's the only way he'll do it. And sure enough, that's exactly what happened. I talked him into it and I went with him. And I was like, Mom, you got to come pick us up and take us. And she did. And I was so grateful. Like, the weight that was lifted off my shoulders to know that my mama was willing to take care of my kid for that whole month. It sucked that I had to do that, but I feel alive more than I have ever felt in my life.
So that treatment that you did, was that the last time?
Yeah.
Okay. That's what a lot of us got to realize, man. We just got to be willing to take that step.
Absolutely.
And we can't, like what you just said, we can't be worried about what nobody thinks about us. A lot of people don't want to reach out. They don't even want to come out about the fact that they getting high, because they figured they scared of what people might think. Well, guess what, buddy? You think people don't know you getting high? You don't give a fuck what they think about now. And when I was getting high, I thought that people didn't. I really thought that people couldn't tell, because it's all an illusion.
Yeah.
It gives you a false sense of security. You feel so on top of the world that when you high, that you think that people don't notice what's going on. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, we can't change until we reach out. We got to reach out.
And she kind of knew. She, like, because we are very close. Me and my mama is tight. And at that time, like, we had just fallen off. Because when you get into addiction and you get so deep in, like, you isolate. And that's what I was doing. And, like, I wasn't showing up to family functions like I should have been. I mean, I just wasn't there for nobody. My brother, at some point, a certain extent, was starting to think, why is my sister not showing up for me? But at that time, we was both in our own fucked up minds. It was just bad. And when I got into rehab, I thought about it, and it's like, my mom had said over the phone, she was like, I'm grateful that you did this because I didn't know what was going on. But now I don't have to worry about where you are. I don't got to worry about what's going on with you. Like, I know where you are. I know you're safe. I know you're good. And I'm proud of you. That's what she told me.
See, and that's going to hit onto my next point about support systems. The very fact that your mom was able to step up and not come from a judgmental angle, but, this is my daughter. Like, I want help for her. Like, and let me speak to the parents that's out there that, you just finding out your child's getting high, your little precious angel, you know what I mean? Your little king or whatever. and you just finding out he or she's getting high, you can't fix them. The best thing to do is to continue to be a parent to them. Now, at the same time, you can't enable. No, you can't be an enabler, but you want to be there for them. You don't want to kick them while they down. Because I know for me, I couldn't, my parents obviously knew what I was doing. I did keep it from them for a long time until I couldn't keep it from them. Like I was literally nodding out in front of them. So it's like, obviously I'm getting high, but just continue to be there for them. And when they're ready, just be there, man. Just be their parent, and I say that, but then again, I don't know what it's like to have a kid that gets high.
My biggest fear.
That's one of my biggest
my
fears.
biggest fear.
And we can get into we can go down a whole nother road, like with addictive personalities and things like it being hereditary and things like that. That's one of my worst fears too.
And you ever be like looking for like those characteristics?
Them signs.
Yeah, them signs. And it kind of just fucks you up because maybe like you're thinking too much of it and they're just a kid doing kid things and but it's always still that possibility, that chance, and it will freak you out.
Yeah, and what if one day when they get older, they try a drink for the first time? Now, if they already are exposed to that addictive personality, if they do have it, then we got now we got a whole different ball game. It goes from like trying it, then you try it, and now you become addicted, and because it's hereditary. And that's my worst fear, and it could be with anything. It could be with, there's a whole lot of different addictions, not just drugs and alcohol. I heard you hit on this earlier. What has meetings done for you? Like, would you recommend somebody to go to meetings?
Absolutely.
I know a lot of people get caught up in AA, NA, CR. Kind of speak on that.
I mean, honestly, I've never been to anything outside of NA. And, well, I'll take that back. I did go to AA in rehab, but NA was my thing. And everybody's different, but it's like they say, the meeting makers make it. And let me tell you what it does for me. It's like you go in there and you hearing about somebody else and you dealing with your own shit, but you going in there and you're hearing about everybody else and what they're going through. Like it hits. You can always find some advice to what you're going through, even if somebody isn't going through the same thing that you're dealing with. You can always find some kind of advice and it will help you. It's the support, the love and the family in the meeting. Like,
yeah. The fellowship.
Yes, absolutely. That is what has become so a tough place for me. Like that's my home. It's everything to me. It has done a lot for me. It's given me my life back. It's shown me how to live. It was crazy because when I first started going to the meetings, I went in there and like of course, I thought everybody was different. Like I was different from everybody else. Like I had this wall put up and I didn't want nobody to know me. I didn't, just nothing about me.
And that's normal.
Absolutely. But it got to the point where like some of these people are right. Like they're speaking some shit. And finally I got to know a couple of people and that is kind of what helped me lower that wall and made me feel more at home.
Let me put my spin on that. So when we out there, right, the only people we can talk about it is other people that's getting high with us. And they ain't got no advice to give, you know what I mean? Because we all getting high together. So we can't bring it to people that, like, for instance, our mom or our dad, if they're not getting high. Now, some people's parents getting high with them, but for me, I couldn't talk to my family members around me that didn't use because they like, man, you just got to stop. Like, but it's not that easy. So the therapeutic value of one addict helping another addict is without parallel. We hear that in the meetings. What does that mean? That means when we get into the rooms and like what you just said at first, which is totally normal, we put our wall up, we don't want to open up at first, but then as you keep coming back, you keep hearing different people share, and you're like, wow, I'm going through the same shit, or I did the same thing. So then it becomes, okay, I've heard enough. I feel like I can say maybe like, 5 or 10 words spiel, even if it's just giving gratitude. And guess what? Then the more we keep coming back to the meetings, we get more comfortable and more comfortable. Now we found our home, and we found people that take us just how we are because they've been through the same shit. That statement can't be any more true. The therapeutic value of one addict helping another addict. That's what it's about. It's about the fellowship, man. How has speak on sponsorship and how important that is in your recovery?
I love my sponsor. She's pretty great. Not pretty. She is awesome. Okay. So when I was in rehab, they told me you needed to do these things when you got out immediately. You need to go to meetings and you need to get a sponsor and you need to work the steps. And at that point, like I was really trying to stay clean. Like I wanted that. And so when I got out, I had started going to the meetings and I didn't know how to go about even looking for a sponsor. Like scared to death. I don't know these people, you know what I mean? Finally, it seemed like a little bit of time had gone past and like I have to do something. I gotta find somebody. So I seen my sponsor and I walked up to her and I asked her if she could sponsor me and we went about starting the process and it was great. We definitely have built a relationship. Now, granted, I don't call her like I should because granted, no excuse is a good enough excuse. That's how I see it. You found a way to get high.
Right.
We can call our fucking sponsor or go see her or whatever, him, her, whatever. But at the same time, like she knows a lot of things that I be dealing with, especially with the kids and just life be lifing.
Yeah.
She says all the time, like life be lifing. But one thing about it is I know that if I need to pick up that phone, I pick up that phone and I call my sponsor or somebody in my support group. It's kind of like you were saying with like support group outside of the fellowship. Like my mom doesn't understand that one is too many and 1,000 is never enough. Like she offered me a drink. It was a month ago.
You gotta say that again.
She offered me a drink about a
Not
month ago.
before it. The
One is too
yeah.
many and 1,000 is never enough. Yeah. She doesn't understand that that is a real thing because I'm an addict. And I had to walk away from her for a minute and I had to call somebody in my support group and like they just had to break it down to me like, your mom, like she's a coffee addict. Like she's not
She ain't one of us.
Yeah, she's not one of us. So yeah, that was a tough thing. But again, if I have issues or I need to talk to somebody, I call my sponsor and she's always there or somebody in my support group. And when I tell you, sponsors give such good advice. Like you need to get you one. Anybody out there, they need to get them one. They always know what to say, and that's something that I'm working on. Like somebody could tell me some really fucked up shit, and I just sit there because I don't know what to say to that, But she be spitting some real shit, and it'll pull me out of some dark ass times, like she has already, and I'm grateful for her. She has helped me use my spiritual principles to my day-to-day life. And that is what has helped me become the person that I am today. And I'm extremely grateful for that. Now, I still got some work I need to do, but I don't think that there will ever come a time where we have to stop doing the work. Like we will always have to put in work for this.
That's very true. And my sponsor, man, let me hit on this real quick and that's what I got from what you just said. Like, so let me use this analogy. So you have a house, right?
Mm-hmm.
Over time, this house has got, with whether where just general wear and tear or a tornado might have came through and it's knocked it down to nothing. And you have to get the tools, you have to get you a foundation, and you have to build that house back up. Now, likewise with us, we've been given certain tools in recovery. A sponsor is one of those tools coping skills are tools. And when shit hits the fan, like what you said, we got to use those tools. But before we can do any of that, we gotta admit that we got a problem, and we got to do something about the problem. We got to put it into action. Harley, again, I'm so grateful that you was able to stop by today and that you was able to give time out of your day to come and give a message of hope. You know what I mean? To
Thank you
try
for
to help.
having me.
Yeah, absolutely. To try to help the next struggling addict, man, or just anybody in general that may be struggling with something. It don't have to be drugs. It don't have to be alcohol. You can be addicted to anything because addiction lies in our mind. You know what I mean? So this is kind of how I wrap up every episode. If you could give one piece of advice to somebody that's out there, they're on the they're at the end and they want to stop using and they're just in that vicious cycle, what would you tell them?
To reach out, ask for help. It doesn't have to be your parents. It doesn't have to be a sibling. Just anybody. Reach out and ask for help. And it's a very tough thing to do. And I only remember like how difficult it was for me. You just hit that point where you're just so tired. You're tired of being sick and tired. And you got to kind of think about it like this, like you are going to die. If you don't ask for
Period.
help, you are going to die
Period.
or end up in jail or an institution. You're going to lose your mind. You know, it varies on a lot of different things. But overall, like you could die on the next one. So ask for help. I can't express that enough. Like I wish I could give you a whole thing about asking for help, but that's all I got for you. Like ask for help. And one more thing, like for people who are already clean, like, or, you know, working on it, you have to always remember, like, you can relapse in your mind before you relapse in real life.
Facts.
And you have to tell on yourself, because if you don't tell on yourself, like, you might as well have already done it.
Yeah, let me go off what Harley just said. And, you know, the first thing you got to do, man, is you got to reach out. You got to reach out. But before you even reach out, you got to admit that you got a problem. You can't be sitting there stuck in denial because denial will keep you sick longer than anything. So you got to admit it, man. And you got to put some pride to the side because I had to do the same thing. There's so much help out here. You know, we just got to be willing. We got to be willing, man. Not only do we got to be willing, we got to put the action. We actually got to take the step. We can pray and we can do all this and do that all that we want to, but until we do our part and put our one foot in front of the other, we will stay sick and we will continue to use. So with that, man, again, Harley, I thank you for coming to share your story and some hope. And guys, remember to keep tuning in, man, and like, share, and subscribe. And keep coming back for more recovery-related content. Peace. I love y'all. Thank you for listening to this episode of Dopenly Honest. I know all too well that recovery is an uphill battle, but there is hope. For resources, find your local NA, AA, or CR meeting. I can't stress enough how crucial meetings are to my personal recovery. If you enjoyed this content, please like, share, and meet us back right here for more episodes of Dopenly Honest. And remember, you are not alone. One day at a time, we do recover.